Long ago, on a railway far away, there lived a little shunting engine called Jack. He worked at a coal mine, and every day he would bring trains to the big yard on the main line to be taken away, or to refill the large coal bunker the big engine used. They laughed at him and always looked down at their nose. Being a small shunting engine used in a filthy, grimy coal mine, they felt their position immensely outweighed his.
Get a move on! I need plenty of coal for my express.
A big engine ordered.
Maybe if it didn't take so much, there would be plenty of coal.
Now, if you'd ask anyone, Jack was normally an even-tempered engine. Gruff, but friendly. But when it came to the bigger mainline engines, he had a strong anger towards them. He saw how they treated little engines like their slaves, or simply sub-beings who deserved no respect. They worked in an industry as a private engine. Loud shouting matches were a common sight whenever Jack entered the yard, usually with a long train of coal trucks, and some snobby express engine was always there when he did, ready to belittle them. This would soon begin a chain of events that was leading for trouble. It was the beginning of a brutally cold winter night when Jack huffed into the yard with a train of coal. It was late, so the engine crew decided to leave Jack in the goods shed before heading home. Jack was sleeping soundly. So soundly, he didn't hear the shed doors open again. Outside, a big tender engine was waiting. The fireman looked back.
Looks like this spot's already taken.
It's fine. This vermin shouldn't be in the shed anyway. We'll shunt him out of the way.
The crew tried to argue, but the big engine put up such a fuss they had no choice. Jack awoke the moment he felt the biting cold wind hit him.
Hey, what are...
Silence, vermin! If I catch you in a shed in this yard again pretending you're a proper engine, I won't hesitate to throw you into the sea!
He shunted Jack into the rear of a waiting goods train, and then retreated for the sheds, his defiant smirk only being cut off when his crew closed the doors. Out in the open, the wind howled around Jack's frames, sunk down his funnel and into his boiler. The light warmth of his boiler was enough that the swirling snow melted and then froze all over Jack, becoming an icy mask as icicles formed along his face, from his funnel, and from his frames. The cold wind swirled up his firebox grate and down his flue pipes, chilling him inside and out. As the night wore on, Jack got colder and colder. Soon he felt a great discomfort forming alongside his boiler. You see, when water freezes, it turns into ice. When ice forms, it expands. This can happen if you were to place a bottle of water into your freezer. The ice expands bigger than the bottle itself. And like a water bottle in the freezer, one of the two things happens. The container expands to contain the ice and stays intact, or it bursts. Unfortunately for Jack, this was the case. Morning dawned bitter and cold as the engine crews returned to the yard to find the state of their engine. Jack was frozen in an icy cast that clung to him all over. Long snaking icicles snaked down from his footplate, around his cylinders, and over his axles to freeze him right where he stood on the tracks. Where the big engine's crew returned to steam him up, the engine saw Jack. He howled with laughter.
Look at this. It's little Jack Frost.
Jack tried to retort, but with his mouth frozen over, all he imagined was a series of loud and angry grunts. The big engine did not care in the slightest as he left to pull the morning express. When the yard foreman heard, he was not pleased.
With this engine here, he's blocking the line. I guess we'll have to wait for the weather to turn before that happens.
Jack could hardly speak. He just shivered. The mine had to borrow another engine to do his work, and the big engines there just laughed at his misfortune. Jack said nothing. He just glared coldly through his icy mask. Weeks went by, and the weather stayed frigid. Eventually, the yard foreman grew tired of Jack's presence as he blocked the line.
I don't care what you do, but get him out of here!
Workers set up some furnaces around Jack and lit fires in them. Soon, the ambient temperature began to melt the ice. From the ice came a muffled moaning noise. They took no notice, thinking it was just Jack's metal body warming up. But it wasn't just that. Jack was screaming at him.
Oh God, it hurts!
After being stone cold for so long, he'd become used to the icy cold. If he had been allowed to defrost naturally, he would have been okay. But no, the warm fire heat was hurting them. He screamed, but no one took any notice as the ice around his face remained frozen solid. Soon, the ice around Jack's wheels had melted to where an inspector could see the damages. He surmised that the damages were too great, and that the coal mine decided the only thing they could do was sell Jack for scrap and use that money to purchase a new engine. Jack was taken away to be scrapped. All the while he was screaming and moaning, but no one took any notice. They and the whole town took notice when the moment Jack's ice mask melted off. His horrible screaming could be heard from the small scrapyard he'd been taken to. It continued for hours as the scrapping took some time. The screams continued until eventually there wasn't enough of himself for Jack to exist, and his pain scream died off as his life slipped away. The silence was deafening. Only the sound of the wind could be heard as a new wave of snowflakes drifted from the sky. Winter soon ended and gave way to spring and summer. Fall came and went, and winter returned. The big boastful tender engine was to take a late-night passenger train one night. His fire burned nicely, and he had plenty of steam for the run. The station master came up, handing the crew a weather report.
Looks like we have a storm tonight.
Pah! So what? A little chill never bothered me.
At that moment, a cold wind blew through the station. The passengers bundled their jackets a little closer, and the firemen shoveled an extra lump of coal into the firebox. But the big engine sniffed, staring out into the cold winter air defiantly. He wasn't going to be battered by a nippy little breeze. The guards soon blew their whistle, and the express set out. As the big express engine puffed away, a particularly dreadful cold chill ran along his boiler out of nowhere. He couldn't tell why, but for a moment he felt like someone was watching him. Down the line, the big express engine pounded along. Snowflakes and the icy wind chilled his face. His boiler was so warm, the snow would melt and gather where the temperature was cooler, like along his handrails and around the thin metal walls of his cab. But he still went on. The coaches swayed gently and following along smoothly. Around him, the wind swirled and whistled along, kicking snow from the drifts on the truck and swirling them around. The big engine wasn't sure, but it sounded like the wind was laughing.
I won't be beaten back by you. Come along, come along, come along.
The train shuddered and rocked violently before stopping hard on the rails. Passengers and luggage went flying about in the coaches. The guard tended to the passengers before leaving to see what was the matter. They found the crew stepping down from the cab, a lantern swinging in the gloom.
What happened? What is the reason for the rough stop?
We don't know. I think we hit a downdraft or something, because the fire suddenly got blown out of the firebox and...
The driver said before he aimed the lantern at the engine himself, his eyes widening, as did the guards. The engine's boiler was bent and broken. It bent in and out, looking like a massive hand had wrapped around it and squeezed it. Where the boiler wasn't crushed, it had been punctured wide open. From the breaches, icicles stretched upwards against the pull of gravity, frozen in midair. In the mass of water's origins, it was clear the whole boiler had flash froze, the laws of heat making the metal contract inwards violently, enough to cause extreme damage.
I've never seen that happen before. Have you?
No, I've not. My goodness. What's the status of the engine?
Concerned, the crew began walking towards the front of the engine. It took a while as the driving wind blew violently, trying to knock them over. When they reached the front, the driver dropped the lantern to the ground in horror. The engine's face was literally frozen in terror. His mouth opened in an agonizing scream, his eyes bulged wide, and his nose turned black, while the rest of his face was dark, icy blue. His gaze stared out in front, looking ahead of him, staring out into nothing but the snowy, blizzardly gloom. Another engine eventually came to collect the passengers, taking them back to the last station. As for the engine pulling the express, they were pulled to a line-in shed out of the way, hidden from the view of the main line. Even tucked away in the warm shed, the ice didn't melt. It seemed to resist the heat, only melting very slowly over the course of the whole winter. It was mid-spring before the last of it had melted. But as the ice melted, so did the engine's face. Peeling away, melting as if it were made of ice itself, bits coming off and melting like dirty, slushy snow. It was obvious when large chunks melted by the heavy, wet splats. Before the engine passed, inspectors asked what had caused this. All the engine could say, through chattering, melting teeth, was,
Chuck. Frost.
You are going to be cold for the 1,000 years. You are going to be dead for the 1,000,000 more. And don't worry, the cold can't hurt you. But only time can hurt you. Only time can kill you. James, do you know my name? No? Time.
The big engine was soon scrapped, and many workers will tell you Scary Jack Frost still roams the rails during hard freezes, looking for engines not safely tucked away in their sheds to turn them into icicles, just like him.
Every Christmas I'm a very good boy. I put out milk and cookies for this guy to enjoy. But Santa never brings the right toy. I felt like giving up on all this holiday joy. But if you've seen the Santa Claus, you know you become Santa if you put on Santa's coat. You can kill him, leave him dead up in the snow. The elves don't even care about you murdering their bro. And so, this Christmas gonna be special to me. I ain't gonna ask for a car with a key. I ain't gonna write to Santa asking him please, 'cause what I want for Christmas can't fit under the tree. I wanna be Santa Claus, so I'm gonna kill Santa Claus. When I hear those reindeer paws, I'm gonna break the law. This Christmas, don't got a wish list, I got a hit list, and at the top of it is Old Saint Nicholas. Nothing against him, it's just business. I ain't the Grinch, but I'm gonna steal Christmas. I made a list and checked it twice for all the fucks I give about ending Santa's life, and I found none. I'll travel at the speed of light. If I'm Santa now, does that mean that I sleep with Santa's wife? 'Cause I'm down, son. Fire in my fireplace. Not talking about his flying ship when I say I'm a sleigh. He gon' die, son. I'ma wake up Christmas Day with all the dopest presents that I forced the elves to make. They're my prisoners. I'll never understand why this is the way that they decide who the next Santa Claus is. How do people not believe that Santa exists? In this world, aren't adults concerned about all these gifts they didn't buy? I wanna be Santa Claus, so I'm gonna kill Santa Claus. When I hear those reindeer paws, I'm gonna break the law. This Christmas, don't got a wish list, I got a hit list, and at the top of it is Old Saint Nicholas. Nothing against him, it's just business. I ain't the Grinch, but I'm gonna steal Christmas.